Welcome to my Full Life and Faith Leaps podcast with me, Tiffany Jo Baker, where we help you experience God's power and rest in your purpose and progress as you move forward step by step in all the things God has called and created you to do at home and around the world. Hello, y'all, and welcome back to my Full Life and Faith Leaps podcast with me, Tiffany Jo Baker. Today, y'all are in for a treat. I have with me one of my sweet, sweet friends, Deanna Day Young, and she's going to be sharing what she does every single day to make a difference in how we can too. Deanna, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you. I'm so excited.
I am so excited too. We've been waiting for this opportunity to talk about this, and many of y'all know my husband and I are in a transition right now of being empty nesters for however long that lasts. Both of our girls are at school, and I've been feeling this transition coming, and God speaking to my heart that He wants to use me, us, my husband and I, in maybe a new way and maybe a different way. And so I've been kind of walking that out, and he's been reminding me of some desires that have been on our hearts, some calls that he's given to us. And so I think this topic of using your gifts to make a difference every day is I know very near and dear to your heart as a speaker and a writer, and somebody who's founded a nonprofit ministry doing just what we're talking about today. So I'm excited because I think the nuggets I'm going to learn here, and God's going to ping my heart with. I just know that there's people who it's going to bless them as well. So thank you for taking time.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
Well, I know part of your story goes back to kind of how this started for you, maybe a pivot, and I don't know if it was a pivot or maybe just an enhanced call to operate like this, but it came through a tragedy that your family experienced. Would you mind sharing a little bit about that and what the result was?
Sure. So first of all, I feel like it's kind of embedded in me, this make a difference every day. It truly has been kind of a life story of mine, just because it's what I love to do. I love to bring joy to other people and things. And it's true. It's like I had the wall words on my office wall that said, make a difference to someone today, in big words for years on my office wall. But you're right, there was kind of a pivot and something that really caused me to move forward. And that was when my sister was diagnosed with cancer and 9 years later passed away. So she fought ovarian cancer that went into her colon, and she had I believe it was 5 rounds of chemotherapy in 9 years is what it was.
Wow.
And just multiple radiation. She really fought hard.
Yeah.
But she loved children, and she was never able to have any of her own. And so she was a stepmother, and she was a wonderful stepmother. And so I wanted to do something when she was coming to the end of her life. I just felt God calling me. And my husband and I both talked about this, to do something to kind of have her memory live on, honor her while she was still alive, even though she was bedridden and we knew that it was coming towards the end of her life. And so we created a mission that's called Bucket Buddies Mission. And excuse me, that mission and ministry is designed to make a difference to children who suffer with life-threatening illnesses. And we take buckets of goodies to children's hospitals around the country to distribute to those kids that are in the hospitals. We have since kind of expanded that a little bit where it doesn't have to be in the hospitals. And honestly, during COVID, our board of directors talked, and we expanded it even into the nursing facilities, to where people who couldn't have people come and visit them, we were able to give items of donation to area nursing homes. So we've delivered over 10,000 buckets since our inception in 2014 in 26 states in Canada. And that was really just by a group of volunteers and God leading the way. And so I'm not going to lie, during COVID, it was hard to get in. It has really kind of put somewhat of a halt on certain things, but
Mhm.
there are other areas that we have just found a way to keep going.
Wow, what a testimony to combine your heart and your giftings with the love of your sister and her circumstance to
Mhm.
then go out and for her memory to live on and for y'all, her included, to make a difference in people's lives. That is just so, so beautiful. And what I love about it is it's also, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm sure there's things that aren't simple about it, but the concept is
Yes,
simple,
right.
right? A bucket of goodies and then sharing it with somebody that it would bless.
Right. And everything's brand new.
Mhm.
So that always, is nice. We don't, just because you want to be very conscientious and
Yes.
respectful of
Mhm.
those and then we're also very respectful to not have any hair product, like hair
Mhm.
bows or brushes or combs or anything like that because some of the children may not have hair. And so
Mhm.
we also go out to the hospital's website and just see what they allow and what they don't allow. Some allow small stuffed animals, some do not. So those are some challenges that you rise up against, but honestly, we've never had anyone tell us no. We've never had a hospital tell us no. And
That's
when we go on vacation, if we are in a place, a state that we haven't delivered before, we try to connect with them. If I can, I send my buckets to the location where we're staying, and then we just do the shopping when we're there
mhm.
and deliver while we're there. So
Oh my
it's been
goodness.
really
And
good.
10,000 families.
10,000.
I mean,
10,000.
because you give a bucket to one child, like that is going to impact the entire family. And
Yes,
so
we hope so.
10,000 families have been impacted by this ministry, and we can reproduce it ourselves right where we're at to a degree. Like I can make something and take it to my neighbors. Like the
Absolutely.
concept of, we
It
live right next to our
is.
fire station. You might hear it while I'm recording because they like to drive right down. But I think a lot of times we think that things have to be super significant or
Mhm.
expensive or take a lot of time or be complicated. And so we might think, oh, my gift isn't good enough, or what I have to offer isn't good enough. Or we might think, I don't have enough to give, so maybe operating that what we have isn't significant, or operating that we don't have what it
Right.
is that people want. But
But
you
I would argue
say,
that you do.
yes, but you say that anyone can make a difference no matter how much time, money, or energy that they have. So, can you give us some examples? Tell us more about that and just encourage us.
Right. So I have read this and used this for years. When you're younger, you have more time and energy and not very much money. When you're middle aged, you have money and energy and not much time.
I'm just trying to figure
And
out
when
where I'm
you're
at.
yeah, and when you're older, you have money and time and not very much energy.
Yeah. Wow. Yes.
So so at any given point in
Mm,
time, and I say that because it really is true. But like
mm,
you're saying, where do I kind of fit in that? Well, what do you feel like today? Do you feel like you,
mhm.
because at any given point, you have at least one of those, and chances are
Yes.
you have two of those.
Yeah.
So, what is it that I have most of at this point in
Mhm.
my life that I can share with other people?
Mm,
And so that's what I would challenge people who are listening to this or who are watching this to say, wow, I truly want to be the hands and feet of Jesus. And
mhm,
how can I do that with what I have? Because we may be at a point in our life where we don't have that extra money right now. You
mhm.
know,
Right.
you got the kids in college, or you've got,
Mhm,
still doing this or that, or you're not making the money because you're fresh out of college, whatever the case may be. What is it that I can do with what I have?
mm.
So you want me to give you some examples of
Yeah. Yes.
this?
Give us
Okay.
examples. Yeah.
All right. So let's start with time.
Mm,
Whatever stage it is of time that you're in, if you have time, and sometimes we don't have a lot of time, but I always feel like priorities
mm.
are what determine our time.
Yeah.
But again, maybe you're in that stage of life where you don't have a lot of time. But if you are in the stage where you do have a lot of time, something that you can do is keep the kids for a stressed out mom. So
Mhm,
I'm going to give you some examples of things that I have either done or other people have done for me.
mhm.
So I have a lot of moms that I kind of mentor through our church.
Mhm.
And so my not so secret sis had two little ones and she was pregnant at the time. And so I said, could I just come and play with your two little boys and you take 3 hours and go do whatever you want to do?
Oh my goodness.
So I went over there. The boys and I went to the creek. No kidding. Rain boots and all. And we traipsed down through the creek the other day. The boys were all the way under the creek and I'm like, I hope their mother says this is okay, um but then they wanted to come in and take a bath, so I'm like, all right, they'll be clean by the time mom gets home. But anyway, so we did that. You know what mom did?
Mm.
She went to the library, she got a
Mm.
book, she went to the coffee house and sat in the corner for 2 hours
Oh my
and read her
goodness.
book. It was just something, and
Mhm.
it didn't cost me anything. It
Yeah.
was just a little
Wow.
bit of time. And I
Wow.
have had during my ankle break injury time here as my journey as I'm healing from that. I've had a friend call and say, "How can I serve you this week?"
Mhm.
And the prideful part of us doesn't want to say, "Here's how you can serve me." But the humble part of me said, "You know what? I want to give her the blessing as to what God is leading her to be the hands and feet of Jesus for
Yeah.
someone."
Good point.
So I said, you know what? I have a hair appointment. My
Mhm.
husband is harvesting in the field. I
Mhm.
could have my parents take me, but if you want, you could take me to that hair appointment and do errands while I'm, getting my hair done. And she's like, perfect. So
Mhm.
for me, she gave me the gift of several hours to pick me up from work, which was out of her way, take me to the hairdresser, bring me back home. So those are just a couple examples of
Right.
the gifts of time.
Mhm.
So if we want to think about the gift of energy, and some of the time also takes energy, but I had someone who was so kind to us. We had some meal trains that went on during church during my ankle injury. And one of the ones, this lady came and brought us chicken salad, like salad with grilled chicken on top.
Mhm.
She asked me, "Is there anything you don't like?" Well, my husband and I have different tastes. And of course, I was introduced to avocado through you guys
Yes.
when we were roommates, however many years ago,
Yeah.
4 years ago, out in California. And so I'm like, I love avocado, but my husband doesn't. So she brought us lettuce in one bowl, all the fixing in different bowls,
Mm.
brought an avocado, bought an avocado tool that was a gift to me, showed
Oh.
Roger, my husband, how to use the tool. You
Mhm.
cut it, you take out the middle, you scoop it out, and then you cut
Mhm.
it up. But here's what she did that
Mm.
is so amazing, and I'm going to do. She went and bought some bowls. They were like kind of that hard resin, beautiful floral bowls.
Mhm.
She set my table. She brought pretty napkins.
Wow.
She got the silverware out of my drawer and brought a little tiny vase of flowers from her garden and set that and brought some dessert. And
Wow.
she said, I don't want anything back. This was all a gift to you. So that was so much energy, in my opinion, for
Yes.
her to put all of that together from a
Mhm.
physical perspective, but also to think about every
Yeah.
single detail.
Wow. What a blessing.
It was such a blessing. Another day out, or another example of energy is maybe that you just take someone out. So um, my neighbor is 83.
Mm.
We decided a couple years ago we weren't going to do Christmas gifts. And so she had made the comment one time about not getting to see Christmas lights anymore. Her children don't live here. So I gave her for Christmas the gift of we went out to eat
Mm.
and then we drove around with hot chocolate and I'd made some cookies and we just drove around probably I would say 2 hours to several different neighboring communities just to look at Christmas lights.
Wow.
So it wasn't really that much money,
Mhm.
but it was some energy and some
Yeah.
time
And
we
I'm
put
sure that was
together.
a highlight of her holiday season.
I know she did. She
Oh,
did say that. It was very sweet.
wow.
And then there's a lot of things, obviously, when you go to the gifts of money. If that's something that is your love language too, maybe you want to pay for the guy behind you at McDonald's, or you want to pay for the next 7 people who have coffee at the local coffee shop, or start a tab. We have a Christian coffee house here. I'm very good friends with them. I've, done that before. Say, I just want the next 3 people that come in, just tell them that the coffee's paid for, and I'm going to sit in the corner and do
Mm,
my thing. And when they're gone, you do that. So, there's all kinds of things. One of my favorites, I'll tell you real quick, is college kids
mm,
being,
mhm,
um, having care packages.
mm.
So, one time I did this for a mutual friend of ours. Um, and it was sunshine in a box. I got it off Pinterest. And you guys, this is where you can get a lot of ideas. Just go out there and look for gifts
Right.
on Pinterest. And I put everything yellow in there.
Oh,
And it was a yellow mug, yellow plates, napkins. I can't remember what it was. And I put yellow tissue paper. And then I put box of sunshine. So when she opened it,
oh,
that word box of sunshine was there, and everything was yellow. So I've done it for college kids too, where you just put
mm,
yellow highlighters and
mm.
sticky notes and Lay's potato chips and anything that you can find that's yellow, and put it in there, just a box of sunshine. So those are a couple examples of maybe using when you want to use the gift of money.
Hmm. Oh my goodness. I'm getting so inspired and like creative, when you really
Yes.
start to think about it, like how
Mhm.
you can love people, like the sky's the limit. And it can be so outside the box, but so simple yet so significant. Um,
Yes.
so for those people who are listening and they're like, okay, I'm starting to get creative. I'm starting to think about ideas. I do have something that I could do. How does God connect people? Like, how do we find the people to serve if maybe that specific person isn't on our heart or in our mind yet? Any ideas on that?
Right. I get that question a lot when I do this presentation, or even just talk about it in everyday life. Like, well, how do you even know where to start? And I would really tell people to listen.
Hmm.
I think that's where we really need to start. Just like
Yeah.
with my neighbor,
Mhm.
I just heard her say
Oh, it's good.
a month or so, 2 months probably before Christmas,
Mhm.
wow, I haven't gone out looking at Christmas lights in years.
Mhm.
So then I kind of made a mental note of that. And I'm like, I want to take her to do that.
Mm.
And I mean, there's social media, look around.
Yeah.
Who's hurting?
Yeah.
Who's celebrating? A simple
Mm.
card to someone who got a
Oh.
job promotion, or, got an opportunity to be on Tiffany's podcast. I mean, all of the look, we are on
Yeah,
social media a lot.
that's good.
Look at those people that are celebrating, or maybe they just kind of touch your heart as you're looking. Always pray. If you
Mhm.
say, Lord, I want to help someone, I want to be the hands and feet of Jesus.
Yeah.
Can you just put him in my path?
Yep.
And then look for it.
Yeah.
He's going to do it. Coworkers,
Mm.
I think about during tax season, CPAs, tax accountants, they're very busy.
Yeah.
I have a friend who I send something or do something for one time a month, January through May. So one time might be a card. The
Mm.
next month I might take her coffee.
Mhm.
Maybe the last month I send her flowers. But it's just to think about who's stressed right now or who's
Yeah.
happy right now. Don't don't forget to look right under our nose. Our kids,
Mm.
our spouse,
Yeah.
our pastors. It's Clergy Appreciation Month in October. The Sunday school teachers, someone who volunteers a lot in your community. Look at, maybe if you get your local newspaper still, look at that and say, oh my gosh, someone was celebrating this, or someone got, a Citizen of the Year award because they do all this volunteering. Seek them out and just tell them how much you really appreciate all they do. Look around the church. Who's
Mm.
sitting in your pew? Who's in front of you? Who's in the back corner? Who's on the prayer list? Who's playing the piano?
Mm.
Think about those kinds of things. And then obviously we can go and think, like, who's been sick, who's had a baby. One
Mm.
thing I love to do is when someone has a baby, take a meal to them.
Mm.
And simple, but you know what? Think outside the box of a casserole.
Mm-hmm.
I like to bake chicken breasts, take twice baked potatoes, green beans, and some dessert. It's simple as can be. You can have them bake it if it's easier for them,
Mm-hmm.
or you can bake it ahead of time. But isn't it amazing what one meal will do for a
Mm-hmm.
new mom or someone who is sick and trying to,
Yeah.
take care of their family? So just,
Mhm.
I really think if you look around at those different areas, you will find people to help. You said at the beginning of this podcast, I have a firehouse right outside my door here.
Yep.
When my girls were little, we made cookies and took to the
Yep.
firehouse one day.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to say one more thing. There's something called National Day Calendar, and it's every day is a holiday. Today is take your parents to lunch day.
Mm-hmm.
You can look at what every single day is a holiday. Yesterday was National Handbag Day. I loved that day because I love my purses. But that is a great way to get
Yeah,
ideas.
that's
You
great.
look out there and you see it's National Nurse Practitioners Day.
Mm.
I know my boss's wife is a nurse practitioner. I can send her a card. It's, National Police Officers Day. I'm going to go get coffee for everyone at the local police station, for 8 o'clock, 8 a.m. or something.
Mhm.
So that's another great source to find people to help.
Oh my goodness. I love all of this so much. I can't even and I love the fact that you pulled out not just looking at the people who are going through hard times, because of course, that is a huge need, but also looking at the people who are celebrating
Right.
and
Yes.
look at the people who are being faithful day to day to day to do what God's called and created them to do, whether they're celebrating or in a hard season or not, the faithful ones who keep showing up. And you're right. There's not I think when we start to look and to listen and to pray, we're not going to run out of people to bless.
Right. You
And we're
won't.
not going to run out. And it's going to be,
Mhm.
I don't know about you, but I have a gift closet. And
Yes,
so,
I do too.
another great thing to do is anytime I see stuff on clearance or on sale, I'm like, ooh, that would be a great gift to give. And, I think ahead of time and stuff, but so I'll just grab it. And I have a closet that I put them in. I keep cards, like you're talking about sending cards out to people. And so when you start to think like this, you can have things on hand so that you're
Right.
prepared ahead of time, and you'll even save money, right? Maybe you go to
Right.
Dollar Tree and you just look at their cards and grab a stack to have
Yes.
on hand, or look on the end caps for things that are on clearance, whether it's mugs or journals or socks, fun socks, or highlighters, pens, things like that that can just show people that you thought about them and that you care.
Right.
Amazing. Do you
It
have a
is.
favorite verse as we're kind of wrapping up? Do you have a favorite verse maybe that talks about loving people, serving people, using your gifts, making a difference?
Mm. I think one of my favorite verses is to trust in the Lord is Proverbs 3, 5-6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not on your own understanding, and in all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make your path straight. Although that's not necessarily about giving, it really is trusting the Lord to say, will you put these people in my
Yeah.
path? Who is it that needs just a little hope today, or who
Yeah.
needs a little encouragement, or who just needs to know that they are seen?
Yes.
And we think about how we feel when we receive those things,
Yeah.
when we receive gifts or acknowledgments or encouragement, and how can we do that to other people? So, Lord, I trust you to make my path straight as I look for how you're working.
So good. I love that. And that's one of my favorite. That was actually my husband and I, our wedding verse.
Oh,
But just to share a quick story, like God does see people and he uses us to let them know that he sees them and that we see them too. I have a friend who has a disability, a chronic illness, and she's going through a really hard season. And I reached out to her and just asking, what I could pray for. And I just felt like I was supposed to send her something. So I have a membership of this online thing that I can do free shipping and free personalization on these gifts. And I found this dog stuffed animal, and you could put on it, it's like personalize their name, and it's like a hug from Tiffany. And so
Oh,
I got her this. And so I just reached out and I said, hey, I'm thinking about you. What's your address? And she's like, and she told me what her address was. And I'm like, how are you doing? And she's like, I could just really use a hug right now. And
oh my gosh, I just
just,
have chills.
I had just ordered her the stuffed dog that said personalized her name with a hug from Tiffany. And I was just like, God, how cool is
It
that?
just gives
That
me
I know,
chills.
isn't that amazing? And like God saw her and knew that she lives across the
Yes.
country, single, lives on her own. And he knew that she needed a hug. And all the way from Texas, I
Yeah.
sent her a hug, literally. And so I could barely wait to tell her the whole story until she got it.
Right. Yeah.
But I'm like, God loves you so much and he sees you. And
Yeah.
I just love what he did there. But
Oh, that's so
isn't
awesome.
that so cool? Well, y'all, I know you're going to want to find out more from Deanna and what she has. She also coaches women on decluttering and organizing and decorating. As you can see, she's just contagious. Like you'll just want to just have more conversations with her and see how you can just light up your space, light up what you're doing and how you're walking it out. But Deanna, where can people find you online?
So my website is deannadayyoung.com, DeannaDayYoung.com. And then also on Facebook, it is Joy in Junk Out,
Mm,
which is kind of what my ministry you'll see when you go to my
yeah,
website. So that is both on Facebook and also on Instagram.
wonderful. Well,
I
you'll
do
have,
have a YouTube channel too.
there you
Yeah.
go.
Look at that. Yeah, I have a
Look
YouTube
at
channel too.
you.
Yeah, it's Deanna Day Young.
Wonderful. Well, y'all take a look at what she has. Find her. She often sometimes on her post will talk about what the day is, the national celebration day is. So you can find out even there it can jolt your memory and be like, oh, it's donut day. You want to send donuts to somebody or whatever it might be. She also has a book and some resources on her website. So make sure to check it out. But Deanna, thank you so much for coming here and just inspiring us with your joy in, your junk out, and just coming in as a fresh breath of air and just giving us some purpose in our even mundane lives that we've been maybe walking in and are ready for a change. So thank you so
Yeah.
much, friend.
Well, thank you for letting me share.
Absolutely. Well, y'all, I hope this has inspired you too. And I know I would love to hear maybe what you do or how this is inspired. And I know Deanna would love to hear too. So don't hesitate to reach out and let us know or comment maybe what this did for your soul as well. And if you have a friend who maybe you even want to buddy up with, and start blessing your community, your church, your neighborhood. Share this with them. They might want to join in getting some joy in their lives as well as they bless others. So thank you so much for watching here on my Full Life and Faith Leaps podcast, and I'll see y'all next time.
Well, friends, thank you for joining us today on my Full Life and Faith Leaps podcast. If you enjoyed our time together and are taking away a nugget that has inspired your soul and success, would you share this episode with a loved one who could use it too? And if you haven't already, take a moment to rate and review this podcast and help me help others fuel and fulfill their faith journeys. Until next time, I'm Tiffany Jo Baker, a 3-time surrogate, speaker, and strategizer who loves to help you birth your God-given dreams at home and around the world. Now go do all the things God has called and created you to do with the grace and gifts God has given you.